The CNS consists of the brain and spinal cord. The brain is enclosed within the skull, also known as the cranium, and covered with three protective membranes called meninges. Between these membranes is cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF, which protects the brain from injuries. The brain has 4 ventricles filled with CSF. These ventricles connect to the spinal cord's central canal.
The forebrain is the highly developed anterior part of the brain. It includes the cerebrum, thalamus, and hypothalamus. The cerebrum is the largest part of the forebrain, making up more than half of the brain. It is divided into right and left hemispheres, connected by the corpus callosum. The outer region, the cerebral cortex, is highly folded to increase surface area. The cerebrum has 4 lobes: frontal, parietal, temporal, and occipital. The frontal lobe controls speech and motor function. The parietal lobe processes sensory impulses from the skin. The occipital lobe handles visual information. The temporal lobe is involved with smell and hearing. These areas also control memory, reasoning, and intelligence. Thalamus. Located below the cerebrum, it relays sensory information like hearing, sight, taste, and touch, except smell. Hypothalamus. Located ventral to the thalamus, in front of the midbrain. The pituitary gland is attached to it. It maintains homeostasis, linking the nervous and endocrine systems, controls hunger, sleep, body temperature, and more.
Midbrain connects the forebrain with the hindbrain and is small in humans. It receives sensory information and conducts it to the brain. It controls reflex movements of the eyes and hearing.
The hindbrain consists of 3 parts: the cerebellum, pons, and medulla oblongata. The cerebellum controls equilibrium and muscular coordination. The pons is above the medulla and acts as a bridge. The medulla connects the brain with the spinal cord. It controls involuntary functions like breathing and heart rate.
The spinal cord is an elongated cylindrical tube that continues from the medulla of the brain and is placed within the vertebral column. It contains inner gray matter and outer white matter. The spinal cord controls reflexes below the neck and conducts impulses to and from the brain. The brain and spinal cord are made up of gray and white matter. Gray matter contains cell bodies and dendrites, while white matter contains myelinated axons. In the brain, gray matter is outside, white matter inside. In the spinal cord, gray matter is inside, white matter outside.
The peripheral nervous system, or PNS, is the network of nerves and ganglia. A ganglion is a collection of cell bodies outside the central nervous system. A nerve is a cable made of neuron fibers, mostly axons. Nerves are categorized into 3 types. Sensory nerves contain sensory neurons, motor nerves contain motor neurons, and mixed nerves contain both. Nerves lead to the brain and spinal cord. There are 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Additionally, 31 pairs of spinal nerves arise from the spinal cord. The somatic nervous system controls our voluntary activities, carrying messages from the central nervous system to skeletal muscles. Autonomic nervous system, or ANS, controls activities not consciously controlled, conducts impulses to cardiac muscles, smooth muscles and glands, comprises parasympathetic and sympathetic systems. Parasympathetic nervous system. It prepares the body for rest and digestion. Nerves arise from the brain and spinal cord. It constricts the pupil, decreases heartbeat, and increases digestion. Sympathetic nervous system prepares the body for emergencies, like fight or flight. Nerves arise from the middle spinal cord. It dilates pupils, accelerates heartbeat and breathing, and inhibits digestion.
Reflex action and reflex arc. Reflex action is also called reflexes. These are sudden, involuntary, automatic reactions to stimuli. These responses are not consciously controlled. For example, the withdrawal of a hand on touching a hot surface. Reflex arc is the pathway followed by nerve impulses, receptor to sensory neuron to motor neuron to effectors.